As a real estate practitioner, do you know what's a scary thing? The scary thing is when I see buyers in the market doing what everyone else is doing. They don't take purchases seriously enough and tend to be following the herd mentality and following the crowd. Monkey see, monkey do, as they say. If you've watched my Darwin video where I went on a rant for 5 minutes rant to talk about what I think is important in real estate, you should know that buying is very important. If you have not watched it, please click the link here to take a look at the video. I want to share that I think it's very important that people do more consideration in their real estate purchases. Let's just take a look at a $1 million property today. With the cost involved in purchasing, you need a 25% down payment. You need a 3% minus 5,400 stamp duty. Assuming this is your first property, so no ABSD. Then you also need approximately 2,500 of legal fees. Okay, this full amount comes up to about 280k SGD. Now, it's not a small sum, isn't it? But why do people take it so lightly? Is it because, I know, yes, number one, you can use your CPF, so it does not have as much cash flow impact on you. Number two, you can also take a bank loan, and furthermore, this bank loan can be serviced by your CPF. Number three, of these 280k, you only need to come up with the first 5% by cash, which is $50,000. So this small initial outlay may make it seem like a property purchase is very comfortable, but let me tell you this, the entire sum is going to weigh on you on years, depending how long you're going to stay in your property. Because no matter what, we need a house to stay, and when we purchase a house, this house, when we take a loan, when we take a mortgage and we paying back our CPF, would stick with us until the home is fully paid up. You know, when I told this figure on how much it costs to pay for a private property to a friend, he told me that this is enough to fully pay a HDB flat, HDB resale flat, which is true, okay, in certain estates. Then when we look at loan, let's say you take a 75% loan at a 30-year tenure at a 2.5% interest rate. Okay, over the years, you don't really feel it that much, but let me show you the sums. When you add up, the amount of interest that you pay over that period is about $316,826. As you can see, within not just the down payment, not just the initial upfront cost, as well as the tenure of this loan, you would be able to fully pay 2 HDB resale flats and be debt free. Now in that case, why do we want to buy private property? Why do we want to upgrade? There are other reasons for that, which I will talk about in another article in another video. But here, I just want to tell you that since it is such a big cost and financial burden to us to be servicing the loan, we need to make sure that you consider a property purchase as carefully as you can, and do not jump into it thinking that it is something trivial. After all, real estate is very likely going to be our biggest purchase of our lives. And it's also a necessity as we need a roof above our heads. So in this video, I want to share with you 4 considerations that you have to ask yourself before you actually decide on a home to purchase. Number 1, what is your purpose of buying? You know, when you enter the show flats, often the agent doing the presentation, the first question they ask you is, are you buying this property for own stay or for investment? Why is this important? Because the requirements of a property differ greatly from an own stay or an investment. Most people, when they come in, especially if it's their first property, they would say that it's for own stay. However, I have realized over these years that there is no clear-cut own stay or investment. So more importantly, you got to ask yourself is your inclination more towards own stay or more towards investment? If your inclination is more towards investment, you tend to have greater consideration and you weigh it better. Because that's just how we humans are programmed to work. When we think of something as an investment, like gold, like equities, even causes where we self-enrich and self-improve ourselves, we tend to think more and consider more. However, when we're buying something because we like it, like clothes or the latest cars or nice jewelry or branded goods, we tend to just act on pure emotion. So with something as expensive as real estate, you want to make it as much of an investment as possible so that you can put in greater consideration and weigh the pros and cons better. some of the important things to think about when entering a real estate as an investment is what's the projected return, what's the risk, and the future liquidity. I have met some property owners who are trying to offload their existing investment or own stay property, but they find it so difficult to sell because they did not anticipate the amount of supply coming onto the market. They did not anticipate that the price they're looking to sell would be so hard to achieve, and they did not know that their property would not be in demand at all when trying to sell. So these are important factors to consider when you are going to purchase your first property. The second thing to think about is what are your plans for the property? Why are you making that purchase? Besides for own stay or investment, there could be many reasons why people purchase property. It could be because of family. You want to stay close to your family members to make it easier to have gatherings. You want to stay near to a good school for your kids, primary school, whether it's primary school, secondary school, or you want to stay closer to your work commute. So these are certain reasons. Here's the thing, you must know whether these reasons, most of the time, they are short-term plans. For example, primary school. After your kid goes from primary 1 to primary 6 and he graduates and moves on to secondary school, the time period is over. If it ain't forever, have you thought about what's the plan for the property thereafter? If you do plan to sell at some point of time, when you sell, which brings me to my third point, when you sell, do you want to make money? Many own stay purchasers I meet right now, when they're buying, their initial reaction is that, oh, it doesn't really matter, I'm buying more for own stay. However, it's quite funny. On the flip side, I do meet sellers as well in my line of work, and they always tell me they want a high price. They cannot accept breaking even. They even worse, they can't accept taking losses for their property. That's quite strange, isn't it? You say one thing at the start when you purchase, and you say something else when you buy. I guess it's a different mentality. So now, telling you this, I want to share with you that even if you're own stay buyer, 100% own stay buyer, is it really okay if your property breaks even or worse still makes a loss? Is it something that you want to put yourself in that position now to think whether you want to buy a property that has good capital growth appreciation potential? The challenge is to think about it right now and don't wait for it to happen. Number 4, what are the alternatives? Here, you don't really know what you don't know. Looking at the market from your perspective, you might be very fixated on what you think you might want and miss out certain opportunities lying elsewhere. For example, one of my clients, they were actually looking for a good school for their kids in the northeast area, and then they were kind of fixated in the area because they grew up in the area and stuff. However, when I shared with them that there were opportunities elsewhere where they can get an equally good school with investment potential and is good for them in the longer run, they grew open to the idea and decided that it's something that they would be open to consider. Of course, it's not 100% certainty that would be the best suitable choice for them. However, it presents to them a different point of view. So my question to you here is, have you considered the alternatives, or do you even know what are the alternatives available for you in the market that might be a better choice given your special circumstances? Buying a property is often a mix of needs and financial gains. It is very likely also the most expensive single purchase item that you're making in your life. I urge every one of you watching this video to take great consideration in making your property purchase. If after asking yourself all these questions, you come to the conclusion that you might sell your property one day and you're not comfortable whether you can be sure if you would be able to sell at a profit, a break even, or in worst case a loss, and that's something you want to avoid, my name is Jim Tay, and I want to fill this gap in the market where I provide unbiased advice to people looking for such information on the internet. You can visit my website at www.jimtay.com below to learn more about me. Drop me a message, leave a comment, make sure you like and subscribe this video. I come out with new content every Tuesdays and Thursdays, and hope to be able to communicate with you again soon. Catch you later.